Previously on Spenelli Speaks. Laura and I from DoubleBookedCo have a little bit of an update because, as you know, I'm very pregnant.
Know you've been a good friend, and that's in the thick and thin, and I know it's never gonna end, 'cause you've been a good friend.
Hi friends, Dani here. Welcome back to my channel. As promised in one of my weekly vlogs, I am going to do a dedicated vlog for two middle grade books that I am interested in reading, and this vlog is going to be all about Nancy Drew. And this is Nancy Drew's Mystery Stories #1, which is The Secret of the Old Clock. So I thought I would just pop on real quick before I dive into the book, because the worst thing I could do is totally forget to do an intro before I start reading, because I want to give you all of my feelings. This is definitely going to be spoilery, so if you are looking for a non-spoilery, spoilery book review vlog, stop now, because I will definitely have some spoilers. So I want to take you through the process. Now, I loved Nancy Drew and Hardy Boy books when I was a kid, but I don't know that I read them in order. I may have just picked them up here and there. But this one, like I said, is The Secret of the Old Clock. And these old books, there's no synopsis. So I'm going to be going in completely blind, other than the fact that I have an understanding of Nancy Drew. So wish me luck. Okay, so I have started Nancy Drew. I've gotten into the first 2 chapters, and I love reading old books like this because they are so ridiculous sometimes. Like, there are definitely books that are like dated, where you have like things in them that are no longer politically correct. And not that I'm seeing anything like that in here, but it's just funny the way that they talk. For instance, like the very first sentence gave me a chuckle, because it says, Nancy Drew, an attractive girl of 18, was driving home along a country road in her new dark blue convertible. And I'm just like, okay. And it's just stuff like that. Later, she is going after some potential robbers, and she like says to herself, oh, I'm exceeding the speed limit. Like, who says that? Like, who says that like that? It just makes me laugh. But all in all, I am enjoying it. What we have here, so this story, Nancy's like driving along this road. This little girl comes out of nowhere, running across the street, climbs up to on top of this like bridge wall, and essentially falls over. Thankfully, she doesn't land in the river, but she does, you know, fall over onto the rocks or whatever. And Nancy picks her up and brings her to the home where she had run out of. And therefore, she meets these 2 women who are the girl's aunts who are bringing her up. Rearing her. That's the word that they kept saying. That they reared her mother, and now they're rearing her, and they rear her. It's just, I mean, the word works. It means that, but it's just funny because we don't say that anymore. And so Nancy finds out through them, you know, a little bit about their history and the fact that they are kind of struggling financially, and that there was a will that was thought to give them an inheritance, but didn't. And again, are we finding this odd that this random person that just shows up after a tragic event, you just spill all of these family secrets and things, and it's like, you don't even know this girl of 18, this attractive girl of 18. And then it turns out that their silver set has been stolen, like a silver teapot and some other things. So of course Nancy's on the case, not only for the thievery, but to find this will. And of course everyone in this town knows everyone's business, so of course they all start talking about, you know, how it's going to come to fruition as far as like, is there a will, isn't there a will? So yeah, so 2 chapters in and I'm giggling all the way, but enjoying it. Obviously it's very nostalgic, and it just cracks me up the way that it's written. And I don't know how I like thought of it when I was a kid. If I thought anything was odd, I'm sure some of these words were like, I don't know what that means, but in the context, it makes sense. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and continue, maybe read 3 or 4 more chapters before I check in with you again. But yeah, I'm guessing with this clock, The Secret of the Old Clock, I'm wondering if the will is in the clock, just because they picture it on the front, and then in the very first couple of pages, there is a photograph or a illustration here, and it says, the Crowley clock at last, Nancy exclaimed. And it's in the moving truck, which the men who were at the house, they were like movers. They like just randomly come up to these people's door and said, are you selling any furniture? And I guess the ladies were, and then they took the furniture, but they also took some of the silver, allegedly. So I'm guessing Nancy finds the truck and then finds this clock. There's got to be something interesting about the clock. Maybe the clock is worth something, or the will is in the clock or something. So yeah, I do like how they have illustrations in the book as well, even though it's more of a, you know, middle grade level reading. I like the old illustrations. It really helps you like picture the author's, you know, thought of that scene. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going. Okay, so I've read 4 more chapters in The Secret of the Old Clock, and this is really reminding me of like Mayberry and like Leave It to Beaver, all of those old shows where like everyone in the town knows one another and somehow knows something about whatever the main character is trying to do. Even like Lassie, when, was it Timmy? Like when he's trying to solve a case, all he has to do is like walk into the bank and, oh, Mr. Jones, have you heard of Mr. Tuttle that lives on the outskirts of town? And then like you get a rendition from like every single person, like at the ice cream parlor, someone knows something, and at the bank, someone knows something, and at the tavern, someone knows something. That's kind of like what this is. And not that there's anything wrong with that, because it shows a certain like genre of the era, that small town mentality. Everyone knows something. It's just interesting because she like goes to get a dress and the sales lady knows something about the will. Like everyone knows something about this potential of another will from this random person. She even goes into another town, and that town knows something about this man's will. It's comical as a person reading this in 2022, but it's also very endearing because it's just a very old school kind of story. So I am really enjoying it. Thus far in the 4 chapters that I read, which went by really fast, I was looking at the chapter because I only wanted to read 4 more before I checked in with you, and I was like, oh, I already read 4, I gotta stop. But Nancy's still on the case. She's meeting some more people who knew Mr. Crowley and who also say that he mentioned them in the will. So she's definitely thinking that it's hidden somewhere. She definitely believes that there is a will. And like I said before, I definitely believe it's in this clock, which I feel like this is kind of a giveaway for a mystery novel. So I hope that it's not as foretelling as I think it is. But I have a feeling that that's where we're going to find the will. So like I said, so far so good. Hopefully no one falls in a well. But I am really, I am really enjoying it. It's very, I wouldn't say it's nostalgic because I'm definitely not from the 50s. But it's endearing. It's a very endearing read, so still really enjoying it. A little bit farther in Nancy Drew, Secret of the Old Clock. We've officially learned about the clock now. And Nancy is pretty keen on finding it because she believes it has something to do with the will, which we've been thinking. When I say we, I mean me. And I wonder too, like, as a decision, like an author's decision to put like the clock in the title and all of like the preliminary images, it's kind of like foreshadowing and revealing like the whole point of the book. So I don't know if that's a good choice, but still really enjoying it. I mean, realistically, I'll probably give this like a 2 to 3 star rating just because, I mean, it's just okay. It's not anything that's groundbreaking. It's definitely bringing me back to when I used to read these when I was a kid, and I'm definitely chuckling a lot because of the Mayberry feel, and I think I've said that before. But so far what's happened is Nancy's just met a few more people and found out a few more clues. And yeah, it's just, it's cute. It is, it's cute. She's a very privileged young lady. She is humble, but it's just funny to see her way in which she goes through her life. And hey, she can even change a flat tire. Didn't you know that? She is a very resourceful young lady. So it is still keeping me going. I'm really liking the illustrations. Let me see if I can find you one. They're just really nice for the time. Really brings you back. There was one that was like a full page, and I'm wondering if I'll be able to find it for you here, but I really liked it. Like, so very, very fun. I just love like just looking at this kind of stuff because it brings me back. It really reminds me of Hardy Boys as well. Those like 50s illustrations. Like they used a lot of these kind of similar illustrations in like adverts and stuff. So yeah. So I'm on like almost page 100. I'm on 96 and it's only 178 pages long. So I'm guessing I'll probably finish this by the time you see me next, and I'll give you my final thoughts. I have finished Nancy Drew. I'm sorry about the lighting. It's very stormy outside, so I only have the inside lights. So I finished Nancy Drew, and I did give it a rating, and it looks like, according to the way that I rate books, I gave it a 2 in content, just because I don't feel like this is winning any awards in its writing style. It's good. I mean, it's a book that obviously is prolific in its you know, its stories, its mysteries and whatnot, but I don't feel like it's, like I said, winning any awards. And then I did give it a 4 in engagement because I was very interested. I did chuckle quite a bit in regard to just the way that things were written back then, and the way that Nancy is written. She's very prim and proper, and yeah, it's just, it was chuckle worthy. And then I gave it a 2 in creativity because I feel like the mystery isn't so much a mystery. I feel like it's very predictable in a sense. So I didn't feel like you were really like wondering what was gonna happen. You knew what was gonna happen, especially since the pictures show this clock. So anywho, after all that said and done, it's like a 2.6, and I always round up because Goodreads doesn't let you do like fractions or anything. So it is a 3 on Goodreads. Now, that all being said, so as we've read, Nancy is looking for this will, and she finds it, of course. And I really thought that these burglars, which I knew they were going to be tied into the story somehow, because why introduce these burglars in the first chapter if they weren't going to come up later in the story? Now, if it was me and I was writing the story, since the burglars get tied in to these, I think they're called the Tophams, who are the mean people who are like getting all the money in the first will, they're getting burglarized at the end of the story, and that's how Nancy comes upon these thieves and essentially the clock, and like saves the day. If I was writing it, I would have made it so that the Tophams like hired these thieves to steal all their stuff so they can get the insurance money, because they had hit some rough patches in the stock market. So they needed the money anyway. So yes, they needed the money from the will, but like, what's better than getting insurance money when all of your stuff is stolen, right? But then I was like, was that even like a thing back then? Like, I don't even know. But like I said, very predictable. Nancy Drew, I feel like, and I don't know if she like develops more, and I don't know if it's because I'm a older reader now, but I feel like her personality is kind of, I don't know, flat. Like, it's just so, like, she's so nice and humble, and oh, she's so good at everything, and I just, it's silly. But what I love about these books is that they're just so endearing. Like, they're so simple in the sense that you can just enjoy them. You can just sit back and enjoy them, even though you know what's gonna happen. But yeah, and I really feel like I like the Hardy Boys, I like the Hardy Boys more. And if you haven't seen, I think it's on Hulu, there is a Hardy Boys show that I watched like back in the summertime, and I watched it all in like one day because I couldn't stop watching it. So if you have Hulu, see if you can find that show, because it was really good. I really liked that show. I like that a lot. But anywho, so I'm glad I read this. I will keep this book because it is the first in her mystery stories. It's in excellent condition. Like I said, I got this at a thrift store for like pennies. And yeah, so definitely brought back a lot of memories. I'm glad I read it. I love the illustrations inside. I miss that in books. And yeah, so overall, it was a pretty good read, and I hope you enjoyed this vlog reading of Nancy Drew. Let me know, have you read Nancy Drew? Do you remember? Is it nostalgic for you? Have you read any recently? What are your thoughts on Nancy Drew and her mystery stories? I did not watch any remakes of Nancy Drew. Like, I watched the movie with, I can't remember her name, it's Emily something, and it was kind of like, it was okay. And now I think the CW has a Nancy Drew, but it's more like a thriller. I don't watch those because I feel like it takes away from the original, so I don't watch those. But like I said, the Hulu show of the Hardy Boys was excellent. I really did like that. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. And I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Until next time, I hope you all are reading something great, taking care, and staying safe. And as always, you know how it goes. Happy reading. Bye.